This actually came from Amazon rainforest,
Africa. African savanna grass.
Okay, any guesses on
I
what this
believe
is?
this is an emu egg.
Yes, you're right. This is an emu's egg. They are one of the third largest species of bird in the world.
I have seen emu egg in wild actually,
Okay.
but
okay.
I don't know why it is colored like this.
So, since emus are terrestrial birds, birds that live on the ground, they
Right.
obviously cannot lay their eggs on trees, right? Now, since they lay their eggs on grounds, the eggs need to camouflage with the surrounding habitat. So, for that reason,
okay.
it's colored like this, you know, the color of the grass or whatever kind of plants is around the egg.
It's a python, ball python. Already.
Ball python, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful eye, Gabbar.
This is Prani the Pet Sanctuary, and you will be meeting a lot of animals, you know, throughout the course of your tour today. And most of these animals that you'll be, you know, seeing, interacting with, meeting today, they're all rescued or surrendered animals, we call them, right? So
Okay.
some of them have been rescued from different kinds of situations. Some of the animals have been given by people because they cannot take care of them anymore. None of the animals be buy or sell. Right, and here we are more of an educational space. We really teach people about these animals to, you know, learn more in detail about these animals rather than an entertainment center. We're not an entertainment center. Here's the next egg. Any guesses?
These are geese eggs.
Yes, you're right. We have a Chinese geese.
Okay.
So this is how the eggs will look.
So all of the geese actually the same way. All the geese
Yeah,
like
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Dove. No.
No. This is the hen's egg.
Okay, I could not recognize hen's egg. I could recognize emu's egg, but I couldn't recognize hen's egg. Okay, fantastic.
What about this one?
Should I place him there or is okay?
Wherever the snake is comfortable. Yeah.
As you might have understood by now, the reason I was so comfortable at the proximity of a python was because this was a controlled environment where I was getting to interact with exotic animals at the presence of facilitators and experts of Prani, an experimental educational space which is home to 700 plus rescued animals, including birds. This is not a wildlife sanctuary, not a zoo, and not a wildlife conservation center either. Prani is an initiative of Into the Wild, a Bangalore-based startup that focuses on outdoor experimental education.
A man's house was raided in Bangalore. He was found with 3 ball pythons. Now, who keeps python as pets in their household? If you happen to ask this question, it turns out that nearly 1 million of Americans do. The forest officials who were called actually on that spot, they refuse to take any action, stating that there is no law which prohibits for him to keep these foreign snakes. The Indian Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 only protects indigenous or native species. It doesn't cover any foreign exotic species. So it is allowed. Now, while these inspectors were arguing, the man happened to leave the spot. He absconded from there actually. What he did was he released these snakes in the wild. What happens to these snakes? Of course, they will suffer and die. But not just that, it's a disaster waiting to happen because it alters biodiversity. In 2023, 72 baby snakes, including 55 ball pythons, 17 Thai king cobra, plus 6 endangered primate species, including spider and capuchin monkeys, which are endemic to the tropical forest of South America, all confined in a small suitcase, suffocated to death, were found by customs in Bangalore International Airport. While custom officers were combing through the luggage carefully, after the landing of the Thai Air Asia flight, the woman, it's actually a 20 something old girl who happened to be smuggling those animals, managed to flee the spot. She sensed the alarm and just left. I mean, just imagine with a little bit of pointed sharp object or anything merely a little bit questionable, you will be, stopped at the airport. But with so many smuggled animals, I don't know how she managed to flee from the spot. India is currently among the top 20 countries in terms of wildlife trafficking, and I think it features in the top 10 in terms of wildlife trafficking via air. YouTube features a lot of videos about Prani, and I saw a couple of them, and they are about interaction with animals. Not a single word has been spared about the underlying unfortunate saga and how the dots are connected. Rather, Prani is presented as a weekend getaway from Bangalore, where you can somehow keep the kids engaged, which you can. But my intention here is to make an exclusive case study other than showing you those fascinating moments with animal interaction.
Good morning, Shivani here.
Hi, Shivani.
Hello, nice to meet you.
They have tie-ups with 150 plus schools and NGOs across Bangalore, and the educational tour conducted by Prani promotes a world where humans and animals can safely and happily coexist. This bio-startup is the brainchild of two friends, Sanjeev Pednakar, a herpetologist and conservationist, and Kartik Prabhu, a trained conservationist. The vision behind this initiative is, today a child may grow up without ever getting an opportunity to pet a wild horse, or knowing the difference between guinea pig and rabbit. Or without knowing that Archerfish can pull off such a marvel. Even I didn't know.
So, right here we have some very interesting, I would say, cool species of fish. So, I'm just going to demonstrate something to you about what they can do, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about the fish that you're looking at right here. So, just quickly demonstrate.
What they're doing?
So, could you tell me what they're doing? So, I just showed them a worm, right? Did you observe what they did? Any idea what?
As if they sprinkled water on the top.
Yes, they're actually spitting water, right? Do you know why they're doing that? Any idea why?
So by spitting, what they will do?
So-
Ultimately, they will bring it down.
Yes, you're right. So these fish that you see here, they are called as archerfish, right? They are found in Sundarbans in West Bengal, and they're also found in Australia. Now, both of these places, they're found in mangrove forest, right?
Okay.
Where you would have heard of a mangrove forest, obviously.
Yes,
before.
I've been there.
Yeah. So mangrove forest, will the water be so clear?
No.
No, you'll have very murky, very brackish water, right?
Right.
So due to the lack of visibility and not these fish not being able to hunt in that kind of water, these fish have actually evolved to hunt in a slightly more efficient or a different manner, which is actually coming up to the surface, aiming at the insects which are there on the top, insects, worms, whatever is there on the trees and branches, and spitting the right amount of water in the right angle to knock those insects down. So that is something that evolution has taught these guys, and they're
Could you
very
please show me
accurate
once
with their
again?
aim. Yes, I'll show you again. And you can actually observe how accurate they are. That's almost 90% accuracy that you're looking at. You can see it hits right at the worm.
Wow.
So, and here you can observe that they're spitting, let's say, about 1 feet above the water level. In the wild, they can spit up to 6 feet. You can imagine how high that is. They're almost the height of the roof, right? With the same amount of accuracy, if not better. As I said, the spitting knocks the insect down. So the force of the water, force of the water is so much that it hits the insect, and the insect will most certainly fall into the water. And when it falls into the water is when they hunt it down.
That's fabulous, no?
Yes. All some of the wonders of nature.
So where from you got this? These are also like part of trading.
These are, yes, all part of the exotic pet industry.
Exotic
So
pet
again, people who cannot take care of them. Because these fish do require a lot of care, in terms of maintaining the right pH of the water, the right water conditions, the right temperature of the water. That's not something that everybody is going to be able to do. So a lot of animals end up dying in captivity, or in some cases, people come and give it to places like this.
From amphibians to marine animals to birds and mammals, this places a wide array of animals to observe and learn from. And that's why I think a tour to Prani Pet Sanctuary would suit anyone who looks forward to having a close and highly satisfying encounter with diverse fauna, especially if you are living in and around Bangalore. Well, throughout this video, I will show you many such interesting species that I have interacted with, guided by the animal conservationist and photographer Pranav Abhinandan, and share lesser-known anecdotes and information along with need-to-knows like how to reach here, how to book for this ecotour, and what's the best time to pay a visit. My intent is not just to make a, look, I found you a weekend getaway from Bangalore because you're tired of malls video. I will rather help you understand what's the real need for such a space, but not before we get to know about this green iguana and few other wonders.
Okay. So, any guesses on what you're looking at right here?
Iguana, right?
Iguana, yes. So most of all, this lizard here comes under a category we call as reptiles, right? They cannot regulate their body temperature as and when they want, like we do.
Right. Yeah.
They depend on an external source. It could be sunlight. At the same time, if they want to cool off, maybe go in the water, cool off a little bit. So also you'll observe each and every reptile is going to have scales. This is what we call as scales. They don't have skin like us, they have scales, and almost 80-90% of them do shed their scales every now and then. Right? So this is one very such reptile. This is called as a green iguana, and they come from the rainforests in South America. And
so they are from Amazon rainforest.
Yes, they're found in the rainforest there, and these are one of the only herbivorous lizard species you'll find in the world, right? There are very few lizards that are actually completely herbivorous, and this happens to be one of those lizards. They mainly feed on greens, veggies, and unlike other lizards, which would generally eat a lot of insects, meat, eggs, these guys don't eat any of that. Completely herbivorous, right? And they're also completely arboreal species.
Okay.
You know what is arboreal?
Yes, on the top of the tree.
Exactly. They spend most of their lifetime on treetops, very less time on the ground. Right? So almost like 80-90% of their life they're on the treetops. And you'll observe they have a lot of spikes, running throughout the back.
Right.
These are all what we call as pseudo spines or fake spikes as we call it. So these are just there to scare away predators. They're not really sharp.
Okay, this is just a mimicking technique for defense.
Not mimicking, they're not trying to mimic anything, but yeah, they're trying to look scary by
Yeah.
showing these. These spikes are not sharp, as I said, they're just to scare away the birds mainly that fly above them. So you can slowly touch her on the
No,
side.
this is called like
this.
the Betzian mimicry, right?
Pseudo.
Yeah.
Pseudo spines.
Yeah, Betzian mimicry is like that only.
Mimicry is, I would say, slightly different. In snakes, you see mimicry.
Yeah,
Venomous
for
snakes
example,
trying
rat
to
snake
mimic.
tries to appear like cobra,
Yeah,
right?
this is different.
Okay.
This is not mimicry.
So this is not mimicry, this is just a
These are just pseudo spines or spikes. They're just trying to look scary. That's all.
okay.
Mimicking is when they're trying to mimic another species, like a
Right.
rat snake would of a cobra, right?
Yeah.
This is not that.
Okay.
Here they're just developed spikes and this thing to look a little bit deadly, to scare away the predators whenever they look at them. So that's why you'll see a lot of lizards, they'll have spikes like this. Not only this species, a lot of lizards. You can come closer now and just slowly, touch her on the sides, right? Make sure you don't touch the head or the tail.
They sometimes take out their tongue to thermoregulate.
No, not to thermoregulate, to actually sense what is around them. So
Okay, from the
snakes,
environment,
snake lizards and all, you would have seen them getting
So
their
they also
tongue
have
out.
Jacobson's organ.
They have Jacobson's organ, exactly. That's how they sense what is around them.
Green iguanas are among the largest lizards native to South and Central America. They are also among the most popular reptile pets in the United States, despite being quite difficult to care for properly. In fact, most captive iguanas die within the first year, and many are either turned loose by their owners or given to such reptile rescue group.
What are these? This
Sorry?
not the spikes. Not the spikes here.
The ones on the side, the
Yeah.
big panels, those
Yeah.
are called as subtympanic shields. So they sort of, puff that up when they want to show dominance or, they want to impress usually during the mating time and all that.
Okay.
The ones on the side, right? These
Yeah.
subtympanic shield.
Subtian.
Subtympanic shield.
It is theorized that the subtympanic shield could be used to fool possible predators into thinking there's a large eye staring back at them. Iguanas, like most lizards, possess movable eyelids that can help clean, protect, and shield their eyes from the harsh sun and from foreign particles like dust or sand. Their eyes have incredible vision that can detect color and movement at long distances, and they also have something known as parietal eye, also referred to as their third eye.
He's trying to poop.
Iguanas are able to hold their breath for up to 30 minutes. They will often jump from tree to water using their powerful tail for swimming to escape. They are also able to leap down 40 to 50 feet without getting injured.
I don't have problem even if it climbs. It's okay. So this you rescued from where?
These are born here.
These are born here. What's is the name?
Even though this one was born at Prani, someone in the bloodline had experienced negligence for this creature to land up here. According to the Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972, We are not supposed to domesticate or breed wild species that are indigenous to India. However, it is legal to keep some exotic wild animals, though it entails proper paperwork and license. In 2023, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change made it a mandate for exotic pet owners to get a license to keep, breed and transfer such animals. However, once bought, nobody bothers that how such animals are kept and treated. Iguanas are thermophilic animals that need to actively regulate their body temperature. UV metal halide lamps, which emit heat as well as light, create a perfect basking spot in the terrarium. This is not only important for your iguana's physiological processes, but also promotes its activity and natural behavior by supplying vitamin D3. In a bid to flaunt exotic pet to satiate own ego, often humans forget that these animals are living beings with special needs, and it's utterly irresponsible to buy any animal as a pet anyway.
There's an Instagram handle called Exotic Pets Worlds Bangalore. I hope I'm recollecting it right, which openly sells ball python and other exotic species, claiming that these are all legal. Those who buy these animals, they often cannot maintain. It's not so easy that you have money so you will be able to maintain ball python. So often these animals die in captivity, or they are surrendered or released in the wild, and sometimes they are gifted or further sold to perpetuate this cycle of abuse. I know many outlets in JP Nagar and Shivaji Nagar of Bangalore where snakes like ball python, albino spider clown heads, then African grey parrots are sold under 1 lakh, and red iguanas under 2 feet within 30,000, 40,000 max. Hi, you can call me Ghosh or by my channel name Out of the Den, where I single-handedly bring you not only exciting wildlife and nature documentaries, but stories that matter. Be it indoor or on the field, there's nobody in the background doing camera work on my behalf, or somebody to take care of the research, writing, editing, everything is done end to end by me in my spare time. So I would really appreciate if you like and share this important video. One of my favorite animals.
Yes, one of the most favorite animal. Yes, and also they're often confused for to be lazy, very dirty, disorganized. But
No.
yes, it's always the opposite. They are actually, so these are Krishnagiri dwarf donkeys. They come from Krishnagiri, a place in Tamil Nadu. Dwarf because they're actually smaller than the average donkey, right?
Yeah.
And although donkeys are, as I said, often confused to be very dirty, very disorganized, they happen to be one of the most organized species, right? So just like we have a dedicated spot in our homes, these guys also have dedicated spots where they would actually
If I had the kind of space, no, I would have kept a donkey.
Okay. You'll actually see they have 1 or 2 spots where they dirty the enclosure. There's one here, one there. But the rest of the enclosure is always clean and they maintain it that way.
Oh, Chona Mama. আচ্ছা আমাকে বকছো কেন? কি আমার জামা ধরে টানছে? দুট্টু বাবাই, দুট্টু করছে, দুট্টু বাবাই আছে। Is it okay to?
Yeah, please.
I do not want him to. আমার ছোট্ট বাবা।
So in most cases, hoofed animals, we always approach them from the side because the eyes are located on the side. Center and back for them is a blind spot. So when we usually pet them in these 2 regions, they get scared and they might react in different ways. It could be biting.
He is biting my t-shirt.
Just like miniature Mediterranean donkeys, Krishnagiri dwarf donkeys are a separate breed in their own right.
This one's a little playful.
দুট্টু করছি।
Donkeys are used for transporting just about anything in India, especially in the hills where there are no proper roads. While they play a vital role in the livelihoods of local community, they are one of the most neglected creatures, often subjected to cruel practices. The one who works industriously throughout their lifespan for us gets the rawest deal from us. So much so that in India, people often call dull-witted hard workers mockingly as donkeys. Our teachers used to call all of us donkeys when we got stuck in our studies somewhere or made silly mistakes. Well, I didn't know then what I know now. A donkey is the smartest equine on earth, more intelligent than horse, and is quite independent in its thinking patterns.
Come on. Here we have something very cool, right?
So black eagle and all these are there.
Sorry?
Black eagle.
No. Those are the native species. We cannot keep them. So here we have another reptile for you, and so this is called as a Salcata tortoise. They are one of the third largest species of tortoise in the world. And
Salcata.
Salcata, yeah. They are native to Africa, savannas in Africa. They grow about that big, as big as the hide there.
Okay.
And
so this hide is for that.
yes, it's for him to rest in the night and everything. And they only move around in the land, survive on the land. Tortoise cannot survive in the water. You can tell by looking at their legs. They usually have elephant-like feet. And they're completely herbivorous as well. They mainly feed on a lot of grass, good amount of desert plants like cactus and whatnot. Here they eat a lot of greens, veggies. So his name is Sunshine.
Sunshine. Okay.
So he is just about 12 years old, 12, 13 years old right now. But as I said, they live up to 80 to 150. They sort of reach their maximum size at close to 40 to 50 years.
This on the top of the exoskeleton, these are protruding. Three cells are protruding on the top.
These you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about
So
this.
this is a deformity we call as pyramiding, which is, as I said, Sunshine also has been surrendered to us. The previous owner who used to take care of him fed him excess amount of protein, giving him stuff like strawberries, watermelons, stuff that he doesn't really require in, larger quantities. They are sort of grazers. They eat a lot of grass. They eat, plants like cactus and all of that. So giving them that excess amount of nutrition could actually end up in something
Pyramiding.
like that. Yeah, pyramiding it's called. He's actually recovering right now. Over a period of time, feeding them the right food, right diet, the bumps actually fade away.
Okay.
So, which is what is happening here. You would have seen most of the bumps on the side is actually fading away.
Are these tortoise excretia?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So we have one more reptile. We missed out on a lizard there. We'll go meet that one.
India's growing market for exotic wildlife pets is on the rise. In 2018, a giant Algebra tortoise was seized in Assam at the interstate border with Meghalaya, along with Gaboon viper, African pythons, miracat scorpion, sugar glider, and over a dozen snakes. To put it into perspective, the Algebra tortoise weighs about 7 times more than the largest tortoise native to India, the Asian giant tortoise. Exotic species is a term used to refer to a species not found in a concerned habitat or geographical area, hence non-native. Countries with rich biodiversity or unique wildlife species are often exploited to supply these animals. The demand for the unique species fuels the unregulated and illegal trade of wild animals. While the trade negatively impacts the habitat, the targeted species are often extracted from their natural habitats in the wild and introduced to unprecedented habitats and used for captive breeding of the species. In many instances, the trafficking violates national legislation and international conventions such as the CITES. In addition, it adversely affects the region from where the species has been extracted, resulting in a decline in the species abundance. Now suppose someone buys or even adopts such an animal as a pet without much thought or out of ignorance or plain megalomania and then wants to surrender due to numerous reasons. What's the option? If they just leave such an animal in nature, they will further expose the animal to inhuman condition and also risk of zoonotic diseases will increase. Most actually won't even make it because it's not their natural environment. Prani bridges the gap and provides these unfortunate animals a dignified life while also providing us an opportunity to interact with these creatures through this interesting guided tour. How come you see some Indian animals around then? Well, at the time of making this video, the premise adopted 13 dogs, including Indian street dogs, after rescuing them. That's because they are not legally prohibited to be kept as pets. So while iguanas can be there, Prani cannot have animals native to the subcontinent or protected species in India in their facility. For example, like say Bengal monitor lizard. How that lizard looks like? Well, those who have seen my Kaziranga Chronicles series, you know.
Beautiful. Yeah, you're beautiful. The dinosaur's closest relative, right?
Yeah, you can see by looking at the legs, the claws on the wings and everything, they display a lot of characteristics. As I said, we believe in the concept of experiential learning, where we use these animals as a tool to actually bring about change in these animals and to teach children about the right and appropriate behavior around these animals.
They
right?
found a cobra, and these are all of the activities that the kids get involved
What
with.
they found, Cobra?
Thank you.
Oh, so they went outside. Okay.
We have nature walks that happen. So the Prani is situated on a 3-acre farm. So we have some space on the backside and we have some space on the past the parking as well.
So why I didn't see those places today?
And there's no animals or anything. It's just a space, like land basically.
No, like nature walk. If I want to do the nature walk, what
Yes.
I
That happens only for summer camp. Take summer camp kids. We take them on nature walk. We take them on a nocturnal herping adventure also, where they get to go outside in the night. And majorly we look for reptiles. So any kind of creepy crawlers that are there, we just look for them and we try to give them experience of seeing them in the wild basically.
right.
So here, even though these are all pet animals that are here at Prani, right? None of them are wild animals, but we do live on a farm here and we do find wild animals right outside. And again, considering we can create a safe environment for the kids to experience that is a very good thing that we do. So we'll take around 4 to 5 facilitators that go along with them. And Akshay would be handling the summer camp. He is one of our expert snake rescues as well. He goes for a lot of snake rescues. So he will be taking them just to make sure, they're all comfortable and they get to learn and experience nature and the wildness of nature as well.
Okay.
First up, we are in the first section here. And so this is what we call as the rodents, right?
Sorry,
so,
what?
Rodents.
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 Okay.
So have you ever heard of the term rodents before?
Yes.
Yes, you've heard of the term rodents. What are rodents? What is your idea of a rodent?
Rodents are rat. It can be the hamster as well.
Correct. Basically, all the animals you see around you right now are rodents. Rats, hamsters, gerbils, mice, all of them come under category we call as rodents. A key factor, what have you observed? Anytime you would have seen a rodent in your house, what do you observe? What is that one thing that they do almost like throughout the day? What do they do?
They are continuously taking a stock of their environment, trying to sense the nearby environment.
Okay,
Through
and-
environmental stimuli, they are trying to get, how they will navigate from one place to another, right? Continuously, they are with a sense organ. That's what I feel. When you look at a rat closely, that they are always trying to, through their face,
Correct, they're always
trying to
sniffing
get a sniffing around.
Yeah.
If
What
that-
else? Along with the sniffing part, what else have you observed of them doing almost throughout the day? What else do they do? It's a common
They dig often.
dig. Okay, one is dig. What else? You're missing out on one more thing.
What I'm missing out on.
So you would have also observed that they bite and nibble on anything that they find,
Yeah.
right? Now, most people think that is a nuisance, but they actually don't have a choice but to bite and nibble on anything that they find. Because unlike us, these rodents have 2 ever-growing teeth Your teeth stops growing at some point,
Right.
but it's not the same for them. For them, it keeps growing throughout their life. So as long as they're biting and nibbling, the teeth is trimmed. The moment they stop doing that, it's going to overgrow. It could even puncture their skull. So for that reason, they keep biting and nibbling on anything that they can find. You would have seen rats, they're going to bite on rubber, plastic, concrete, anything, right? Most people assume that they're eating it. No, they're not eating it. They're just trying to trim the teeth, and they don't have a choice but to do it anyway.
So the
Right.
teething thing continuously, the sensation continuously keeps on happening throughout their lifetime. That's what is.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
It keeps growing throughout their life. So let's say they stop biting and nibbling, boom, the teeth is going to overgrow and it's going to puncture their skull, which could kill them. Right. So for that reason, you'll see anywhere they go, they have to bite on, pretty much anything that they find around them.
Okay.
Right. I have the first rodent for you now. Any guesses on what you're looking at right here? What is this?
A rat.
Rat? Are you sure this is a rat? Just observe the body structure and everything. Are you sure this is a rat?
I don't have much idea, but these are marsupial, right? This say
So no. These are not marsupials.
this is not
No,
marsupial.
this is not a marsupial. But you would have observed a rat or a mice before?
Yeah,
For
it looks
sure.
like that
Right?
only.
Yes, it does look like that. But the main difference that you will see here is that the tail. You guys can observe here that this guy, he has a furry tail, right? Mice and rats do not have furry tails. You guys will observe that, right? You
Okay.
can observe here. It's a
Right.
furry tail. So this is called as a gerbil, right? This is a
Gerbil.
Mongolian gerbil. Yeah. These guys come from Mongolia, right? Which is again the desert parts of Mongolia. And you would have obviously been to a desert before. Yes?
Yes, I have been
What
to.
kind of climate are you looking at? Maybe during the day, what kind of climate are you looking at?
It's highly arid and dry
Very
environment.
hot, very
Yeah.
right? What about during the night? What kind of climate?
Night suddenly the cold comes actually.
Cold sets in.
Suddenly cold
Extreme
sets in.
cold,
Yeah, extreme cold.
right?
Yeah.
So what do you do when you feel cold per se? In the night, what would you do?
We try to cover ourselves up.
Cover up with a
yeah.
blanket or anything
Yeah.
that you find around, right? Pretty similarly, they also use their tail to cover up, right? Let's say he feels cold, he's actually going to cover up and, keep himself warm. You see the face is exposed to the cold. They actually cover that part up and, sort of protect themselves from the extreme cold that they would face in those deserts, right? And also, they do something very cool where they stand up on the two hind legs, when they get curious to check out what's happening around them, they actually stand up on the two legs. So you can sit down here now and keep your hand flat like this, and I'll be placing the animal on your hand, and just keep your hand still. Just keep both your hands flat. I'll place the animal on it. A little bit lower, more flat like this.
Ole mama. Do we have individual names for them?
Not all of them. Some of them, yes. This guy we haven't named. Some of them do have names.
What's the species name you said once again?
Mongolian gerbil.
Mongolian gerbil.
So we have gerbils in India also.
Okay.
Yeah, they look slightly different. We do find them in the desert.
Where from you rescued Mongolian gerbil here in Bangalore?
So these gerbils come into India as exotic pets, into the pet industry.
Illegal trading.
Yeah, legal trading, legal and
Legal.
legal, both ways they come in. Either ways, most people cannot take care of them. They take the animals for the trend.
Right.
So since they cannot take care of them, that's when they come and give it here.
So nice. Do we know how so are they sexually dimorphic or male female looks distinct?
No, male female, you can't really make out that.
Can't
much.
really make out.
No. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. What this is? Any idea? You can see the tail again. What is this now?
The tail is very long, but it also it doesn't have any
Not
fur.
much fur. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a rat, and so this species is called as a Japanese hooded rat.
Japanese hooded rat.
Japanese, yeah, they come from Japan. And hooded rat, you know what a hoodie is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they literally have a hoodie. If you observe the coloration here, you can observe here. An extremely intelligent species of rats. extremely trainable. They identify colors, sounds. They're very intellectual rats. A lot of people train them to follow commands and whatnot. So they're very
They can follow
intelligent.
commands.
Yes, they're extremely trainable that way.
This looks beautiful.
Okay, you can slowly try and touch him on the back here.
If he gets disturbed, I do not want to.
No.
No?
Okay. They're used to it.
Is it okay to pet all these
So
rodents?
all of these animals that you're going to meet today, they're all domesticated, right? Exotic pets. So they do require a good amount of human interaction every day.
Oh,
Yes, they do. They're very dependent on us to take care of them. They cannot be self-sufficient. They're not wild animals.
yeah, because they're rescued, right? So
Yeah,
that's
they're
why.
completely dependent on us to take care of them every day.
Gritty rats and mice living in sewers and farms seem to have healthier immune systems than their squeaky clean cousins that frolic in cushy antiseptic labs. Several studies proved that the sanitized Western world may be partly to blame for soaring rates of human allergy and asthma cases, and some autoimmune diseases such as type 1 diabetes and rheumatoid arthritis. The theory called the hygiene hypothesis figures that people's immune systems aren't being challenged by disease and dirt early in life, so the body's natural defenses overreact to small irritants such as pollen. The takeaway is rodents are not dirty like we imagine them to be, and Prani maintains these animals well, and this is not their natural habitat anyway, so touching them is not unsafe. However, rodents can carry a wide range of disease-causing organisms and several parasites, and some of them are dangerous to us. So if you are not comfortable, let them know. This facility has in-house vets though, who regularly check well-being of these animals.
So most people assume or think it's a rabbit, but not a rabbit.
Okay, this is guinea pig.
Yes, they come from Peru, a place in South America, right? And also, the reason we call them guinea pigs is because of the kind of noise that they make. They make squeaky noises when they get excited, which is very similar to pigs. So that's the reason we call them guinea pigs, right? And also, something very cool about them and about any other rodent that you would have seen today is that these guys, they do not have a tail. If you observe,
Do not have a tail.
they don't have a tail. You can observe.
Yeah.
So they've actually evolved to lose their tail, right? Do you know any other species that is actually evolved to lose its tail over a period of
Gibbons.
time?
Gibbons.
Okay, any other species? Something that you see every day. Something that is around you most of the time.
Evolved to lose their tail. I mean, we see, but it's not losing. Like, for example, lizards. We
Lizards
see.
drop their tail.
They just
So
drop.
these guys have lost their tail permanently. It's a part of evolution. So there is one species that you see almost every day.
Can you tell me, help me out with that?
Humans. As a part of evolution,
Okay.
since we had no use for it, we've actually lost the tail. So he's also gone through something similar, right? And another very interesting characteristic about them is they can actually sleep with their eyes open, right? They've again evolved to do that because of the kind of predators they have. So unlike these other rodents, they don't really burrow under the ground that much, right? They're on top of the ground most of the time. So let's say he closes his eyes when he's sleeping, he's most exposed to predators. So they have actually evolved to blink every 2 or 3 minutes while we do it every 2 or 3 seconds. You can actually observe he's not even done one blink since I got him here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to stay alert, they've evolved this, very cool method of sleeping.
So sleep with eyes open, but are they actually watching?
Yes.
They're watching.
Completely alert. Yeah.
I heard this, but is it a myth that horse also sleeps with their eyes open?
No.
It's not true, no? But
Right.
people say that horse actually also, they never lie down like apparently horse.
So if a horse lies down for a lot of time, then that's a problem.
But they can lie down for a
They
little
can
bit,
lie-
right?
They can lie down for a little bit. Even Maya here, the horse we have, she also lies down quite a lot. But lying down for a lot of time is not good because they have actually evolved to sleep while standing. Because by the time they get up, a predator could attack them. So they've actually evolved to sleep while standing. So if they're sleeping on the side or on the ground for too much time, then it's a problem. If it's for a little while, no problem.
Right.
Right? So you can sit down here. I'll place the guinea pig on your lap. Just slowly, you can pet him on the back.
But usually, so this is a different species you said, as a very different behavior from rabbits, is it? Because rabbits are very agile.
For sure. So they're completely different from rabbits if you see that way.
And the coat is also very nice.
Yes. So they regularly groom themselves, they basically comb their hair. So if you spoil his hairstyle now, he's going to go back and, comb again. So that's something very interesting.
Okay, I do not want to spoil your hairstyle. If they get disturbed, I do not want to pet them.
No. They're all
right?
used to it. It's a daily routine for them.
Okay.
There's someone in Prani who likes rodents more than anyone else. It's estimated that ball pythons kill 2 million mice each year.
They constrict and kill, right?
Yeah, they're called constrictor.
They kill their prey by coiling around its body and suffocating it as they wrap tighter and tighter until the victim falls dead. Like other constrictors, they swallow their prey whole after suffocating it, starting from its head. Ball pythons are obligate carnivores who eat a diet that consists of small prey such as rodents, birds, amphibians, fish, and shrews. Generally, smaller or younger ball pythons need to eat every 5 days, while larger ones usually eat once every week or two. As an ambush predator, they are used to catching their own food in the wild, but domesticated ones are trained to eat dead prey because live rodents will be scared and can bite the snake. Even small rodent bites can cause infection that will make the snake sick. Some ball python experts believe that only a specific life stage of rats should be fed to them, which are those in their younger ages, just about the size of a pinky mouse. When a ball python eats prey larger than its stomach, it may regurgitate it or even have the food get stuck in its mouth or throat.
Filled up with a lot of rodents that we have here.
Okay,
So that's the
everything.
reason you can see all of the enclosures have a zipper, they have their feet, they have their substrate, they have their hides.
Right.
So for each species it will be different, slightly different.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so you cannot put one species from one enclosure and put in another.
No. The enclosures will be, in this case it's pretty much similar, but we design enclosures that are specific to the animal. The enrichment will be specific for the animal and it will be suitable for sort of mimicking the natural setting that they would get in the wild. I would say.
And from outside, it is what? Is it?
So these are all sippers. So rodents preferably require water 24/7. So we give them sippers and it's topped up throughout the day. So whenever they want, there's like a ball there. They can just come drink water whenever they want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Okay. So you can come this up.
Hedgehog.
So yes, this is a hedgehog. You would know that we have hedgehogs in India as well.
Sorry?
Right? We do have hedgehogs in India as well.
Right.
We usually find them in the desert regions. Now, these are pygmy hedgehogs from Africa. Pygmy means small. So they're actually smaller compared to the hedgehogs we find here. Right? And you would have seen something very similar on porcupines as well.
Right.
So those are called as quills. Quills are generally a lot more longer in size.
Yeah.
And quills can also be detached from the body. Right? These are called as spines. They're completely fixed to the body and they cannot be detached. So these guys do something very cool. If they want to sleep, they actually become a ball. that's when the spikes actually stand up. So they curl up into a ball and they sleep like that.
It's much like a pangolin.
Yes, yes, something similar. And that's when the spikes stand up. So even in his sleep, let's say someone tries to come and attack him and try and bite him, they're going to get poked by these sharp spikes.
Okay,
Right?
these are the
Right
spikes
now,
are-
it's not standing up, so I'm able to touch. But if he curls up, all of the spikes will stand.
right, right.
Yeah.
That's a
So-
defense.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
triggers.
You can just slowly try and touch him on the back, I would say, like this, gently.
It's lovely. Pygmy hedgehog I cannot take.
Hedgehog holding we don't allow because we are trained to, handle them. So suddenly, if he just moves around a little bit, if it pokes, you will react in a different way. So that's the reason we don't let people hold literally.
Okay.
Because those spines that you touched just now, they're extremely sharp.
On the
When you
lap
touch
also.
them-
On the lap
On
also.
the lap also, no.
In Uttar Pradesh, a man recently died of a snake bite by an African pit viper who was brought into this country illegally, of course, and then released when the owner got bored of it. If not snake, you must have seen someone in your vicinity who has African grey parrots, lovebirds, cockatoo, finches, a Siamese fighting fish, a hamster, rabbit, probably even rat. I don't know. They will tell you that keeping African hedgehog is legal in India, but not Desi hedgehogs. And they are being factually correct. But there's no protection for this exotic foreign species. And they are all smuggled mostly in India. Some random Instagram handle or outlet will probably show you some shoddy paperwork, and you will have the documentation with you to safeguard yourself, and suddenly you will have an aesthetic show animal in your drawing room, and you will not even understand that you are becoming a part of a transnational organized crime, the money of which can be used by some terrorist to buy ammunition against your own country.
You can come closer. You can stand here.
Yeah.
Okay. So right here we're going to be meeting few hoofed animals. Have you heard of the term hoofed animals or hoof before?
Yes.
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 Yeah. So you'll see all of these animals, they sort of have a shoe-like structure, right? Which is what we call as a hoof, and it pretty much serves the same purpose as our shoes do.
Yeah.
Which is preventing injuries, ease out movement for them. So all of these are hoofed animals here. We have few on that side, we have few on this side. So these are basically called as ponies.
Okay, what's the difference between horse and ponies?
So ponies are a completely different breed. I would say a smaller breed, right? And that's the main difference between a horse and a. They're smaller.
These
in
are
size.
horse and they are ponies.
These are ponies, right? This is the maximum size they're going to grow up to. They're not going to grow any bigger than this. So we have two ponies here. This is Isha. This is Gabbar, right?
This is Isha
These are almost like the first two animals that we started this place with.
and Gabbar.
Yeah, they're one of the oldest animal here. They're almost about 15 years old, right? And we
Okay.
have had them for 6 to 8 years almost. And so that's the main difference between your ponies and the horse, the size difference. And most people often confuse it to be a baby horse, right?
Right.
But a colt or a foal is a baby horse. That's a completely different species. These are a completely different species. But they're all equines.
Right.
Okay, so here we have.
Why is doing like this? Like putting the. He's trying to scratch himself.
Yeah, he's
Gabbar.
just trying to get attention right now. He just wants us to pet him or feed him.
Gabbar wants attention. How beautiful Gabbar's eyes are.
Okay, we also have Maya here, who is a horse, right? And who was rescued from a stud farm, right? So, usually when horses like these are bred in stud farms, and Maya here had a slight hoof defect, you'll see one of her hooves is slightly smaller than the other, right? In such cases, it's sort of like wearing one small shoe, right? They won't be able to run for a very long time. And generally, when horses like this don't perform in a race course, for them the best option is mercy killing, right? That is what they do. But that's why we rescued Maya here. And the reason I would say they usually mercy kill is because the maintenance of such large animals is very high, right? One of the main expenses being the food. She consumes about 10% of her body weight every day, and she weighs a little over half a ton, right? So her daily consumption of food is close to 50 kilos every day.
Can Maya not come this side? Like
She will come. We'll just try and feed her some grass
Maya.
now.
Look this side.
Yeah, you can actually try and feed her a little bit of this. Yeah, just make sure you don't take your hands too close. Just hold it in the edge. You can try feeding her. You can try feeding them also.
Gabbar. How do you get the resources to take care of them?
It's all locally available. Resources in the sense in terms of food.
Isha.
Yeah.
Isha is reluctant to eat. Okay, I'm giving a little to Maya who wanted.
A horse's tongue is a huge bunch of muscle and it's most sensitive, if not the most important organ for the animal. The tongue connects back to the hind legs. What happens with the horse's tongue directly affects the horse's ability to use his hind legs. The horse tongue attaches to the hyoid bone, and the hyoid is intimately connected to the airways and therefore affects the horse's breathing and is connected to hind limb via a network of muscles called fascia. Both horses and ponies are of the same species, Equus caballus, and come from the exact same family tree. However, ponies stay small their whole life and mature more quickly than horses. They also have a different temperament and sturdier builds than most full-size horses and typically tend to live longer than horses. Ponies can eke out nutrition from a pasture that a horse would starve on. However, some horses are more ponyish in their behavior and physiology, and some ponies are more horse-like. Nevertheless, every animal's eyes here carry an untold story of abject negligence to blatant torture. All of them have been exploited in the past at various levels. At times, Prani team rescued some of these animals from their deathbeds. At times, they embraced abandoned animals. These resilient ones once again learned how to trust humans.
So beautiful eyes. अच्छा पाओनी हाँ जानी देखते बच्चे আমি দেখতে পাচ্ছি না ভালো আছিস মা
Isha got honey-colored eyes, Gabbar dark chocolate, and Maya seal brown, or so it appeared to me. While my color perception is not highly reliable, the equine eyes is one of the largest of any land mammal, and from the deep soulful browns to striking icy blues, their eye colors are as unique as the animals themselves. Their eyes are additionally distinctive in that they are situated on the sides of their head, giving them a wide-angle view of their environment. They are prey animals, and as such, their eyes are built to spot predators from a distance. Since they have eyes on the sides of their heads, they got a nearly 360-degree range of vision, while we humans got a visual field of about 180 degrees. With the exception of what is directly behind them, horses and ponies can see practically everything around them. What other animal is like them? If you have seen my video about tigers' false eyes, you should know. To avoid jostling with the crowd and enjoy animal interaction properly, plan well, and it's better to avoid public holidays. That way you can also catch a break in between and get your specific questions addressed. Otherwise, facilitators mostly stick to a script for the sake of uniform experience and crowd management. If weekend is the only time you can visit here, make sure to book the earliest slot. Even on a weekday, I found steady influx of visitors post 11 am. There's a cafeteria inside the premise that serves fresh meals, fruit juices and some snacks. There is no other restaurant nearby and I didn't carry any food. Even though limited options, the kitchen folks appeared warm and hospitable.
So this bird that you see here is called as a silver pheasant.
Yeah.
Right, these are silver pheasants, and this one is actually a male. The one that you're looking at right here is a male. Males are usually this, white, brightly colored.
Yeah.
The females, we don't have one right now, but they're usually brown in color. Right, you would have observed even in a peacock, right? These guys are also pheasants, just like peacock. You would have observed a similar coloration. Do you know why the males are slightly brighter in color always?
That's because the competition is much more for mating purpose. They have to, showcase their bright plumage in order to attract the female.
To attract the female, okay.
Animal world, actually, if you look at it, for every time, it's always the males who look
are
good.
brightly colored.
Yeah, males are
So
brightly colored.
in this case, the female usually is on a darker shade. You would have seen in peacocks as well. Is for camouflage, to blend in with the surrounding habitat. Let's say they're very brightly colored. They're not going to be able to do what they're supposed to do, which is laying the eggs or protecting the younger ones. They're too exposed to predators if they're bright. Instead, the male, he needs to be exposed, right? And so we'll be checking out the next animal now, which is on that side.
The word pheasant ultimately comes from Phasis, the ancient name of what is now called the Rione River in Georgia. The pheasant's origins go back to the Greek and Roman antiquity. This bird is native from India, Southeastern Asia and China, and Prani could keep such a species as he is not a native export. Inside Indian wild, silver pheasants can be seen in Kufri in the Himalayan Nature Park and in Solan in Himachal Pradesh, but they are mostly found in the northeastern regions like Assam's Tinshukia city. While Kaziranga National Park is a diverse haven for avian life, including many interesting species like the Kalich pheasant, the silver pheasant is not typically found in Kaziranga. However, I got a chance to meet with the rarest grey peacock pheasant there, the state bird of Myanmar, during my exploration in the Burapahar buffer as captured in the 3rd episode of Kaziranga Chronicle. Unlike traditional communities specializing in hunting and trapping of indigenous species, the exotic bird trade is handled by those with financial muscle, space, and access to captive breeding farms. Many birds are smuggled in India through Patna in Bihar by traders operating from our neighboring Nepal. Stuffed in constricting spaces, consignments reach Nepal by air and are then sent by road to Bihar via the Raxol border, with only a few reaching the eventual destination. Similarly, traders from Calcutta in West Bengal use the same modus operandi to operate via Bangladesh. Based on the latest Caesar report, Myanmar has emerged as another hot route. Now the main hubs in India of the exotic bird trade are Calcutta, Bangalore, Chennai and Hyderabad. Shipments now arrive from Dubai, Bahrain via Pakistan or from Southeast Asia and from Africa. Many traders also falsely claim their animals have been sourced from captive breeding facilities when actually they were captured from the wild. If you are in Bangalore, just visit dingy alleys of Russell Market at Shivaji Nagar a couple of times. And if you manage to blend in and don't ask suspicious questions, the picture will become clear. My first pet is not Moa. It's a rabbit whom I called Nondo. I found him in a horrible state there and had to buy to get him a decent life. Nondo didn't live with me for long though. But yes, he got a chance to eat and sleep properly for a few months. Many of us don't know that rabbits does not naturally occur in Indian wild.
I'm making an exclusive case study kind of report, and and someone will make a mock feared or funny expression in front of an animal and put that on the thumbnail, and that video will end up getting more views, and I'm aware of it. But I would still prefer to show the reality, and if you care about quality content, back this channel by being an active subscriber.
Myself, Pranav, and I sort of believe in the concept of experiential learning, which is why I sort of ended up here. Back about 4 or 5 years ago, I quit schooling, believing in the same concept, and I always had a passion for animals, which is why I started with rescuing dogs, and it slowly led to being here in Prani. I've been here for almost close to 4 to 5 years now.